Hello sacred beings and welcome to my channel. Today, as promised, we are going to be talking about the Triangulum Galaxy, also known as Messier 33 or M33, as well as the Andromeda Galaxy, also known as Messier 31. So we're going to talk a little bit of background history information about them, locations in the sky, so where to find them if you're out on a stroll at night, and also markings in your birth chart. That's right, I found some markings for Triangulum. It was hard, but your girl did it. And lastly, where to find traits about them. So let's get started. So if you guys like this kind of stuff and you want to be part of our spiritual community, growing together while on our sacred journeys, then please hit that subscribe button and make sure to ring that bell, because I do post polls, updates, and photos inside my community tab. So without further ado, let's go. All right, let's just jump right into it with some background info about Triangulum. So the Triangulum Galaxy is the third largest galaxy in our local area. That's after Andromeda and our Milky Way, where we live. I want to just show you how you can find it in the sky, because I feel like that's a good way to connect with it, and who knows, you might have been looking at this the whole time and now you know why. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure it's a very dark night, because the Triangulum is very low brightness compared to the Andromeda. By the way, Andromeda is the right way to say it. Yep, I listened to you guys. One of you said, go watch this person's video. They say it right. And I now have put it in my brain of how to say it correctly. So if the first thing you want to do is find Andromeda in the sky, because it is 8 times brighter than the Triangulum. The easiest way for me is to find something I already know what it is. So like the Big Dipper or the Mintakan that I talked about before within Orion's belt. But for this, we're going to be looking for the Big Dipper. So the first star of the handle, so where the little bucket starts, the closest star to that bucket on the first star on the handle. From there, you want to look to the right. And you want to find Polaris, which is one of the brightest stars, also called our North Star. And I've done a video about Polaris before. But once you find Polaris, then you keep going right and you find what I think looks like a sideways W, Cassiopeia. And then from there, the second star on the bottom of the W. So on the right, on the bottom of the W, you want to follow that diagonally or sideways, and then you'll see the Andromeda Galaxy. It's right above the Andromeda constellation. So once you have found that, then you go straight through the bottom star, which is in the Andromeda constellation, called Meroc. So that brightest star is Meroc, and if you go straight below Meroc, then you will find Triangulum Galaxy. But like I said, it has to be a super dark night, clear sky, or you might even want to use binoculars or a telescope. But you can see it with your normal eye, but the conditions have to be right. So let's talk a little bit more about some background information. So you may have heard that Andromeda Galaxy is moving towards our Milky Way, and that a collision between the two of our galaxies will occur around 4 billion years from now. Well, they say that the Triangulum Galaxy may be a satellite and that it orbits Andromeda. But astronomers are not sure its fate for Triangulum, if it's on the same course of crashing into us, or like if it's orbiting Andromeda, it might as well be following it wherever it goes. So it might, but they are not sure. Triangulum has 3 brightest stars, which makes the shape of the triangle, hence its name, Triangulum. So really, in the night sky, you'll see the Triangulum constellation, the 3 stars, and then the left of the galaxy, you will see the 3-star constellation, or to the right of the 3 stars that make the triangle, you'll find its galaxy. So the brightest star is called Beta Trianguli, also known as Meson. The second brightest is Alpha Trianguli, also called Mothala, but it has different spelling. So Methala or Methalok is also the names for the second brightest. The third brightest and final one we're going to talk about is Gamma Trianguli, also called Horna. So it's super cool. Like, the galaxy of Triangulum contains nebula, spiral galaxies, superclusters, and orange giants that are 5 times bigger than our sun. And it also includes the largest stellar mass black hole, which is 16 times bigger than our sun, called M33X.Z, if you wanted to look that up. I didn't research much into the black hole because I have other things to share with you, but I thought it was pretty cool that our Milky Way galaxy contains 400 billion stars, Andromeda contains 9 trillion, and then Triangulum contains 4 billion. So if we're living on planet Earth in our Milky Way galaxy, of course there's people like us or something living in the other galaxies that contain way more stars than us. It just makes sense. So let's move on to the fun part, which you guys were probably waiting for, the traits. Like most of my videos, I don't really share the traits because you can easily Google them, and that's not what I'm here for, is to repeat the same information. So I will give recommendation just for Andromeda, or I said it how I used to say it, Andromeda or Andromedan starseeds. Then I recommend using starseedsigns.com or thespiritnomad.com, which I will link below, but it tells you the traits, mission, life purpose. So I really enjoyed those links. As for the Triangulum traits, I didn't find exact traits for that galaxy, but I feel like if you resonate with Andromeda, let me know. Read the traits, and if you're connected with Triangulum, so if you requested this video, or you are drawn to Triangulum Galaxy, you may also resonate with the Andromeda traits. So please let me know, because I believe they're pretty similar. Okay, now the birth chart, the moment you guys have been waiting for. You should have your birth chart by now. If not, go to astro-charts.com, fill out all your information. This is what it's gonna look like. I changed under settings, under general to sidereal. I'm looking at my sidereal chart because it talks more about your higher self, your true self. You are more than welcome to just use the generic Western astrology, which talks about your life right now. You can compare the two. You can do either or. So whatever you want to do. For me, I'm doing sidereal, so you change that under general, and then you want to make sure you hit the apply button at the bottom so it sticks. So let's get started. Andromedan starseeds. I did a video, my first ever starseed video, which blasted off. Thank you guys. That I mentioned markings for Andromeda, but I found a few more. So if you already watched that, stay tuned because I have a couple more for you. So basically, you are from the Andromeda constellation or galaxy if you were born between April 16th and 18th. And then you want to look at your birth chart and find Aries. We're looking at the planets, which is the first thing you come upon when you scroll down that website, and then the houses, which are all the way at the bottom, and you're going to see 2 numbers. We're focusing on the first number. For example, look for Aries, and if you have any Aries, number 7, 13 through 22, 13 all the way through 22, 27, and 29. So I have Aries 23 in my planets at the top, which is 1 to 2 degrees away. So 1 to 2 degrees away still counts from any of those numbers I just mentioned. So moving on to Taurus, look for Taurus. It's going to be a 0, and 0 is actually Meroc, which we talked about when I showed you the pictures of how to find Triangulum. That is one of the brightest stars in the Andromeda constellation, is 0 in Taurus. You'll also be looking for a 6, 7, 8, or a 12, 13, 14, or a 21, and 1 to 2 degrees away. Those are all of the ones I have for Andromeda. So let's move on to Triangulum. So Triangulum, I don't have this marking, but same thing you look for Taurus. So it's Taurus, 6 in Taurus. Exactly 6 degrees 52 is the one of the brightest stars that I talked about called Mathala. 10 in Taurus, but exactly 10 degree 15 in Taurus is another star that I didn't mention, but within that galaxy constellation is Deltaton or Deltotom. So basically a lot of Taurus, right? And 6 in Taurus was a marking for Andromeda, and 10 is 2 degrees away. So you're most likely going to have markings for Andromeda and Triangulum. You may be a hybrid, or you may have thought you're from Andromeda the whole entire time, but you're actually from the Triangulum, or vice versa. So whatever you resonate with. So I have some more markings for Triangulum that I personally added because I think it just makes sense. So if you have a Mercury or Saturn in Taurus, so this is what it will look like. I have Mercury in Taurus. And the reason I added this was because the website that gave me the degrees also gave me the planet that like matches the degree. So I thought if you had those or a lot of Mercury or Saturn, that would be a marking for you. Also look at your houses. If you have Mercury or Saturn in your 4th or 1st house. So your 1st house represents the self, and your 4th house represents your home, your family. So 1st or 4th house, you would have Saturn or Mercury, or both in one of them would be like a really big marking. Next, if you have yods or yods in your chart, so you would look under the pattern tab, and it would look like this, especially if your yods or yods are in Mercury or Saturn like mine are, then that could be a marking for you. And I chose the yods or yods because they look like a triangle. It's just simple, right? Only a couple more. And then if, like I mentioned, if you have lots of Mercury or Saturn in your aspects, so it will say this under special features, and mine says I have 11 aspects. So if you have this sentence and it says a number there, that is a marking. And lastly, I threw this one in for fun. If you have a triangle birthmark, beauty marks, freckles, or you're just drawn to triangles, or drawing them all the time, like scribbling. But I've seen, sorry, I just started looking at my freckles, and you can kind of see here I have 1, 2, 3. But for a second, I thought it was a triangle. I mean, it could be a triangle. Let me show you guys. See, I have 1, 2, and this little one. So that's kind of a triangle. So I didn't even know that, but that's what I mean by if you have markings like that on your body, or you're drawn to triangles and draw them or see them everywhere. You find triangle things in the ground like rocks or whatever. Those can be little hints that maybe that's your home planet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am actually off to Roswell right today after work. I'm driving. It's 2.5 hours away. We're going to Roswell. I'm so excited. So I will post some pictures on here for you guys in the community tab, because I would love to share all the alien stuff that I find. But yes, thanks for watching. I have another video for you that I'm not even going to spoil it, but it's going to get very deep, very spiritual, and maybe help you guys out with life in general. So stay tuned for that. Hope you all have a great day, and I will let you know when I get back from playing with the aliens. Bye.